What is going on, good people of YouTube? I'm ImJslay. Thank you so much for joining me, and wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day. Today we're playing some Madden 21, but before we get into it, if you enjoy the content, leave a like rating, and if you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on to stay updated with all of my uploads. If you missed our previous video, I'll leave a link in the description of this video for you to go check it out, and I cannot stress enough to go check that video out if you are watching this video. It is part 1 of our Nickel 335 scheme breakdown. In part 1, we go over some of the basics to help get you started, covering personnel, abilities, and so much more in that video. Please go check that one out before you see this one. It's going to help get you up to speed, and I look forward to seeing you back on this video. So for today's video, as mentioned, we've got part number 2 of what I thought was going to be a 4-part series, but I've actually decided to combine parts 2 and part 3 into one video, so this will be a 3-part series. So we're at part 2 right now. Today we're going to be talking about our coaching adjustments, our audibles, how to sub in our personnel, and then we're going to be going over some of the plays that we use. So now, before we hop into it, I have 2 quick things. Number 1, if you do enjoy this content, please leave a like rating. YouTube decides occasionally to take away some likes, and that affects how the videos are pushed out to the YouTube algorithm, so please leave a like rating if you enjoy this content. Secondly, I want to help outplay that YouTube algorithm, and let me know, since we are discussing defense here, who is your favorite defensive player of all time? This can be from any era. I want to know who your favorite defensive player is of all time. So the first thing we want to do is come down to our coaching adjustments, and we want to make 3 adjustments. We want to put our option defense on conservative. We want to put our curl flats on 20 to 25. You're going to adjust this as the game goes on if needed. And then we want to put our hooks at 5 or 10. You're going to want to adjust this as the game goes on if needed, depending on what your opponent is doing. Okay, I want to show you an example of what could happen if you leave your option defense on balanced. So as you can see, Bridgewater has daylight, a lot of daylight to run, and faster quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson are going to take that to the house 9 times out of 10. Conversely, here's what it looks like when you have your option defense on conservative. The outside guy who has contained is not going to crash down. He's not going to vacate his responsibility. He is going to keep that outside edge. That way, Teddy Bridgewater does not have the kind of daylight to run like he did when you're on balance. Okay, I want to show you what it looks like when your curl flats depth are not set up properly. Pay attention to the strong safety on the right side of the field. He's going to be responsible for the deep crossing route by number 16 here, but the depth is not set up properly, so he's not going to be able to make a play on the ball. Let's show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, that is wide open. So because the depth is not set up like it needs to be, his attention is actually being pulled down by Christian McCaffrey's route here, leaving this route by number 16, who is actually one of the slow receivers I think I've ever seen, wide open. Didn't have to pass lead it, he's just wide open, and as you can see, he's nowhere near. Now that the zone depth is set up properly, he is going to make a much better play on the ball. As you can see, what we're talking about here. So he is literally standing right where the ball is going to be thrown. Because it is set to either 20 or 25, he is going to make a play on that ball every single time. Okay, so as you can see, and if you remember before, the strong safety was actually being pulled up by Christian McCaffrey's route, even though he was in a curl flat and had that deeper flat responsibility. Because we set the depth properly, now he's going to drop back where he needs to be to take away 16's route. Yes, McCaffrey's route is wide open, so we definitely need to make an adjustment for that. However, they're not going to be able to hit these deep throws down the sideline, which are super popular in Madden. It's going to be completely bagged, and as you can see, there's nowhere to throw the ball, and it gets intercepted. Now we need to make sure that we've got the right personnel out on the field. So what we are going to want to do is substitute our corners in at safety and then our safeties in at linebacker. Once again, go watch the previous video. You'll see what personnel decisions that we have made. So I'm going to want to put Patrick Robinson at the strong safety position. I'm going to want to put Ken Crawley at the free safety position. Now this frees up Marcus Williams and Malcolm Jenkins for us to be able to put at linebacker. So we're going to want to come to our middle linebacker, and we're going to be using Marcus Williams. At the left outside linebacker, we're going to want to sub in Malcolm Jenkins. And at the right outside linebacker, we're going to want to sub in PJ Williams. So now that we've got our substitutions in, we want to go ahead and set up our audibles. We are going to be setting up audibles for 3-3-5 and 3-3-5 wide. So for 3-3-5, it should look like this: square, cover 1 robber press, triangle, nickel linebacker blitz, L1, cover 3 cloud, R1, cover 4 drop. For nickel 3-3-5 wide, it should look like this: square, cover 1 robber, triangle, Mike blitz 0, L1, Tampa 2, R1, Mike blitz 3. I should mention you are not going to be able to set up all of these substitutions and audibles on the first play. Prioritize the most important aspects like personnel decisions and then get the audibles in during the second play. One aspect I do want to touch on real quick is going to be why we are going to be coming out in 3-3-5 every single play and then audibling to 3-3-5 wide. As you have seen already, in 3-3-5, we can substitute our safeties in at the left and outside linebacker positions. If we come over to 3-3-5 wide and we try to substitute safeties in, you'll notice we can only sub linebackers or defensive linemen in at this position. So in order to maximize what we have out on the field, we are going to be coming out in 3-3-5 and audibling down into 3-3-5 wide. That way our safeties who we've subbed in at linebacker are going to be out on the field. Okay, so for the plays, I'm going to keep this simple. I really only call 2 plays on defense. That is going to be Mike Blitz 0 and Mike Blitz 3. And then I make adjustments as I am in the formation. So the first thing we're going to want to do is actually audible over to 3-3-5 wide. By doing this, you press square and then left on the D-pad. That is going to bring up your 3-3-5 wide formation, and from there, you can call your play. So we're going to touch on Mike Blitz 3 first. The first thing I want to do is press my defense. To do this, I'm going to press triangle and down on the left stick. Secondly, I want to shade over top. To do this, I'm going to press triangle and then up on the right stick. Now the defensive line. I'm actually going to have them slide to the side opposite of the running back. In this case, the running back is on the right side of the formation. I'm going to slide my defensive line to the left. I'm also going to slant my defensive line inside, so I'm going to press left on the D-pad and down on the right stick. Now, as you can see, all of my defensive linemen are rushing the passer or stopping the run. Finally, I'm going to want to put my outside linebackers in a zone. Now, I'm always going to put the linebacker on the side of the running back in a hard flat. To do this, I'm going to double tap right on the D-pad to bring up my individual linebacker assignments. I'm going to press X and left on the left stick. That is going to put him in a hard flat. Now I have the option for my left outside linebacker to either put him in a vertical hook or a hard flat, depending on what my opponent is doing. If I notice the tight end is going to be running flat routes most often, then I want to put him in a hard flat. If I notice he is putting routes out that I would need to have a vertical hook or a mid-zone out there, then I can do that as well. So I'm also going to double tap right on the D-pad, press square, and for the vertical hook, I can press down on the left stick, or for the hard flat, I can press left on the left stick. Now in doing this, I know that I've got, as a user, the entire middle of the field to work with, because the left and right hand side of the field, as well as that deep third and deep middle, is going to be covered. If I had my right outside linebacker in a vertical hook, I do know that I've got some help over that middle left hand side of the field, so I can break off a route as it comes into that particular zone. The majority of the time, I am going to be setting my defense up like this, and then just playing off of what I notice my opponent's tendencies are. So let's go ahead and play this one out. Okay, if we take a look at the replay here, starting with Robbie Anderson's route, as you can see, he's on a C route, and because we had our zone drops set to be so deep, they were able to take care of that route. Let's take a look at Christian McCaffrey's route. One of the better routes and one of the routes that a lot of people are going to be putting out on the field are going to be those table routes, which is why we always want to put that side of the field in a hard flat, so specifically Malcolm Jenkins in a hard flat, and as you can see, he completely takes that away. So as our user, we know that we're responsible for anything across the middle of the field, so we see the outside receiver break to the middle of the field, we know that's our responsibility. So we're going to give ground there, and once he gets into that deep middle zone, we can go ahead and break off of that, and then try to adjust to any other route that's crossing our face. Alright, the tight end route is actually put on a flat here, so it was a great job by us to go ahead and put our outside linebacker in a flat. Finally, we have the slot receiver's route, and he's going to be running a corner route. And as you can see, once again, because we had the curl flat as deep as it was able to take that away. That's going to be a very tough throw and most likely an interception if the opponent wants to throw that ball. Okay, the second play that I want to touch on is going to be Mike Blitz 0. Now, this is a play that you're going to want to call predominantly if you've got man corners and man abilities on your team, specifically one step ahead. It is going to lock down a lot of routes that your opponent is going to want to throw at you. I should mention this play does not have near as many adjustments either, so we're going to want to audible over to Mike Blitz 0, and it comes out looking like this. Now what we're going to want to do is press our D. And then our outside linebackers, we are actually going to want to put them in curl flats. Do this, double tap the right D-pad to bring up their individual assignments, press the corresponding icon, and then press right on the left stick. And now it looks like this. So these curl flats here, they are going to take away those corner routes and those deep crossing routes. And then we've got manned up for the rest of the way here. So as a user, I know that I need to help out with Christian McCaffrey's route initially, and then I need to work back over to the middle of the field. I'm also going to want to slide my defense to the side opposite of the running back. I'm actually going to take my user, I'm going to cheat a little bit over to the right-hand side here. So the setup is going to look just like this. So I need to help out with McCaffrey's route first, and then work my way back over to the middle of the field. Okay, let's take a look at it. Everything, as you can see, was locked up really well, and we don't even have abilities out on the field here. So Robbie Anderson's route was completely shut down. We were able to get to Christian McCaffrey and kind of help out with it, but really we were able to break off that pretty quickly because the opponent most likely is not going to throw that with that much clutter on the right-hand side of the field. So then we worked our way back towards the middle of the field to DJ Moore's route, but it was guarded very, very well by Marshawn Lattimore there, one of the better man corners in the game. Now let's come to the tight end route here, and that's going to be locked up pretty well. He is going to complete that, but he's only going to gain 1, if any, yards. So you like to see that there. Finally, we've got the corner route here, and that was locked up pretty good too. Having that curl flat drop right there is going to prevent your opponent from throwing that. He's going to get depth and possibly pick that off if he wants to throw that. So now, as the game goes on and as you learn your opponent's tendencies, you can throw some different looks at him. We had previously talked about moving your outside linebackers from hard flats into vertical hooks just to throw him a different look, right? Well, you can do the same thing when it comes to sending pressure out of this specific formation. There is a great way to get pressure to throw your opponent a different look after he's gotten used to your linebackers dropping out into coverage. So the only difference in the setup here is you're just not going to put those linebackers in those curl flats. You still want to shade over the top by pressing triangle and up on the right stick to try not to get beat over the top. And you're still going to want to slide your line to the opposite side of the running back. You're going to do that every single time. Now let's just let this play out. So once your opponent gets comfortable at you throwing him one look, by mixing in this look, it is going to confuse him most likely enough to where he's either going to take a sack or make a bad read and potentially throw you an interception. So in this case now, instead of him having only 3 players that are rushing him, he now has 6 players rushing him. We've even included the user rushing as well. We are able to come through this gap right here. And we should have tackled him initially, but we were able to still get him. Now, as you can see, look out on the field, there's really nothing that's open. And this isn't even any man abilities out on the field. So, having this blitz right here does a great job. Even if we didn't use a rush here, someone most likely would have shedded before he was able to find someone, but user rushing on this play brings a whole different dynamic to it because now he's got your user to worry about, and he's going to be panicking even more, potentially could throw you one. Okay, so how does this defense perform against the run? Well, let's take a look at it. Now, when your opponent comes out in obvious running formations, you are going to want to call Mike Blitz 0 and set the defense up very similarly to how you set it up when they are in shotgun formations or passing formations. All right, so we're going to audible to Mike Blitz 0. We're going to want to press the defense, and we're going to want to shift the defensive line to the strong side of the field. Now, depending on what kind of run it is going to depend on what gap we want to shoot. Obviously, if it's something inside, we're going to want to shoot one of the inside gaps there. It's going to be an outside zone, a stretch. We're going to want to obviously give ground and work to that outside area of the field. So we notice it's going to be a stretch play here. And we notice the majority of our team has got the complete outer half where the tackle and the tight end and wide receiver is. So we know we need to get to that gap between the guard and the tackle. And we do so effectively, causing McCaffrey to bounce it outside where we've got the rest of our defense there to clean him up. So this formation is also a good formation to lock up shotgun runs, as well as we see an inside zone play here. We were able to come free right through the gap between the center and the guard and blow that play up to the point where McCaffrey ran into the back of his lineman and then ends up falling down for little to no gain at all. Now, if you call zone, this is going to do a good job of stopping the run out of shotgun formations also. There's going to be a lot on your user to make sure that you shoot the right gap, but the more you play, the more that you'll figure out what gaps that you need to shoot, and then you're going to do an even better job of stopping your opponent's run. Okay, so all in all, this is my favorite defense in the game. It is the most meta defense that you're going to see in weekend league and head-to-head games. It is the one that users have the most success with. It is the hardest defense to move the ball on consistently. As you can see, there's only a couple setups and a couple plays that you really have to even call. The more that you get used to this formation, the easier that the setups and adjustments are going to come with you. So just play around with it. Don't get frustrated. You will eventually get comfortable with using and calling this defense. And in our follow-up video, our final video, we are going to go through a head-to-head game and talk through some plays, talk through some adjustments, and show you how it all is put into action. Okay, so that is going to do it for this video. I hope you did enjoy. Little peek behind the curtain. This was a difficult video to record. I'm hoping the editing is going to come out to make it easy to understand. If it is not, however, and you have a question, a comment related to the video, or if you just want to say what's up, leave that in the comment section down below. I love interacting with each and every one of you down there. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like rating. It helps me out a ton. And if you'd like to see more content, hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on to stay updated with all of my uploads. I'm ImJslay, signing out today. I'll catch you all on my next video.